Hey everyone, welcome to the Landfill. My name's Ethan. I'm here with co-hosted by Dunk, Notorious Dunk, Double Dunkworth,
What's up, boys?
and Tanner, Snoochie Boochies.
What's going on, boys?
We're chilling here on this Saturday night. How's everyone doing?
Not too bad.
Pretty fine, pretty fine.
Good, good. Uh, yeah, man. I'm glad to have the weekend off. Dude, Chelsea had the biggest. This shit came out of her nose. She had I forget what the surgery's called, but she got her septum fixed like a week or two ago, and she's been for the past like 2 or 3 weeks. She's had like gnarly shit coming out of her face. And the other day there was this thing that came out. It was like 2 inches long, like a half-inch wide. It looked like a fucking baby, like a shark egg. You know how those things are like green and like a pouch. You know what I mean? It was it looked like a fucking shark egg, and it was just like kind of hard, like hardened, but it was like all mucus. It was like the most disgusting
Did
shit
you
ever.
incubate it?
Oh, dude, yeah, I sat on it for a little bit.
That came out of her face?
They came out of her fucking face, dude. It was gnarly. I didn't realize that your sinuses, there's I know Snoochie knows this because he's like
Dude, this is right up
all
my
up in
alley.
that shit, but the like your sinus has this like this cavity on the right side that's like totally detached from like what you breathe through.
Yeah,
And
they
so
it
she
goes
had
like
a-
under your eyes, like
Yeah.
cheekbones.
Yeah, your eustachian tubes.
There it is, man. The eustachian tubes. That shit is like, she had so much gnarly shit coming out of there. It was disgusting.
Stat guy Snooch.
Oh,
And
that guy Snooch, he
That's-
knows. I'm
that's
sure
why
you've
your ears
seen
get
some.
clogged up.
Really, it's from your sinuses.
Well, yeah,
Like-
it all links up. It's
Okay.
like that's why sometimes like when your like nose gets clogged, like you feel like your ears are all clogged up because your eustachian tubes and shit fucking
Yeah, that's-
drain
Okay.
into your sinuses.
The doctors you
yeah.
go to like ear, nose, throat. They do all three always.
Oh, because it's
Oh,
all
absolutely.
connected. Okay. That makes
Exactly.
sense. That makes sense.
Pretty cool.
Have you seen some, like gnarly things, like abscesses and like weird shit at the
Oh yeah,
hospital, dude?
story
Oh,
us
dude.
up, dude.
Dude,
Yeah.
I've sucked many a things out of people's holes that you would be absolutely
Give
amazed
this
by.
to me.
Honestly, okay, so like probably one of the worst things that I do is it's called NT suctioning, nasotracheal suctioning. And basically what we do is we get like a little catheter thing, you know, like a tube. And I have to like lube it up and I have to fucking jam it down people's noses. And sometimes you just like, because you got one big cavity, right? So like if you go through your nose, if you stuck your finger through your nose, you could like stick it and play with your tonsils.
Oh.
And so basically,
Okay.
I jam that shit down there, and I swear to God, every time I've done it, like 9 times out of 10, like it's gone bad for me. Like the first fucking guy, I swear it was like maybe my third day. We're like, okay, we got to NT suction a guy. I'm like, okay, like the first one went really good. Like, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff out. You know, when people can't cough shit out, we got to go do it for them.
Yeah.
So we go in the room, and this guy's like wife is like right next to him. We're like, okay, you know, it's gonna be a routine NT suction. I'll lube that shit up. I stick it down there, and you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to pass, but I get it down there, and then start suctioning stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. Like that's the good
Yeah.
shit. That's the good shit. And then they're like, all right, a little bit of blood. Like, yeah, you know, sometimes it gets a little bit bloody. Okay, and then all of a sudden it's just like straight bright red blood. And I'm just like, and I stop and I'm just like, I look over at like my coworker. I'm like, we're just like, yeah, okay, yeah, we got it all out. He just said they're like, oh. We're like, yeah, you're gonna be irritated for a little bit. I'm like, I think we just killed him.
That is so intense. So just straight red came out that tube.
Dude, it just
Did you
straight
like jab him
blood.
in the throat?
No, dude, it's just like I don't know what happens. Like maybe if we nick something or whatever, but like you know we're like, oh, you know, first we're getting snot, and there's like a little bit of blood. Like yeah, it's okay. And also like I started getting blood and like he didn't even say anything, but I just stopped and we just kind of looked at each other and he's just like oh. We're just like yeah, okay,
Damn,
we're
I
all
wonder
done.
what kind of-
Totally normal. All right. We'll be back later if you need some more of that. Like, go tell the nurse, and we're like, all right, yeah. You might want to keep an eye on him.
Holy moly.
Don't know what happened to the guy, but yeah,
I got a
dude.
follow-up question for you. When you're like in any type of hospital situation or like medical situation, when there's like, you know, extracted fluids and or unwanted matter from your body, where does all that go? Like, do you guys just throw it in the trash or
Is
what?
it-
No, dude, they have like biomedical waste containers and shit that you throw all that stuff. And some of the stuff, like, we have these like suction containers if you're suctioning it out, dude. And other stuff, like, there's, honest to God, probably like the worst smell I've ever smelled when I was a student. I was at this big hospital, and this lady had a like ischemic bowel, which basically means like her bowels are dying. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but the whole ICU just fucking stunk. Also, I'm sitting there like walking past her, I'm like, la, 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 and I start gagging. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And the whole fucking place just stunk. And I remember even like later that day, like the nurse went in to drain it again. And like literally my preceptor was like, dude, let me smell that, dude. He like walks up and like she just like holds it up to his nose. He's just like, he's like, she's like, dude, you smell this, dude? I'm like, I can smell it from here, dude. I'm like, dude, I want to throw up just thinking about the
like-
smell.
I'm like
That's
retching
really
right now
gnarly.
just thinking about that.
That's
Holy
not
shit.
that's not all the time, dude. Like I said, dude, I can deal with people
Yeah,
sneezing
yeah.
on me, but like rotting like poop flesh is
Oh, man.
the worst thing that I don't but I
Yeah.
don't really deal with that, which is why I did not choose that profession. Poop.
Right. Yeah,
And that kind of
when
thing.
I was at the vet clinic, I didn't mind handling animal feces or urine. You know, like
Right, it's not bad.
that is so different than human
Completely,
stuff.
dude.
Like fuck that.
You have some fucking morbidly obese 400-pound smelly vag woman fucking shitting all over your face. It's a completely different story.
Absolutely.
It's that much nastier, and the fact that it's even better if they've been in the hospital for a while on like tube feeding or something like that, and it's just like nice wet sloppy diarrhea 24/7, and that's all you
Oh
get,
my
dude.
God. I can't imagine that human interaction like with the nurses, because like at the vet clinic, when I'd have to deal with these dogs, and they would do this embarrassing like really disgusting shit, but they would just like look at me and they're just a dog. You know what I mean? I can't imagine if you're doing that shit with a person. I guess it's kind of like this understanding that it's like I'm fucking sick, but it's weird.
You know,
I had this.
yeah. What's up? Go ahead.
No, the clinic I worked at did knee replacements on dogs. It was like so
Oh, yeah.
unnecessary. Like these people were paying way too much money, and they're putting their dogs through way too much to fix their knees. You know what I mean? But this fucking big, I forget the breed. It was some mixed breed, but it was one with a big ass head, slightly squished. But afterwards, I had to like recover them. So as they'd wake up, they gave them epidurals, so their whole backsides were useless for the rest of the day. And I'd have to like put a towel underneath their like hips and like
Oh,
pick
yeah.
them up, you know? And like so they'd use their front paws, and I'd hold their back, and we'd like go all the way outside across the street, and like they'd piss and shit and whatever, do whatever they needed to do. But this one dog, he was coming around, he was really groggy. I start, positioning him, getting him up to go outside with the
Oh,
towel
no.
under his hips,
Oh,
and he just like leaks so hard, like just all out his butt, just diarrhea so hard. Like both my shoes, like one of them had like a good amount in the shoe. It was like so disgusting. But I just like, he just looked back at me and was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just like, it's
Aw.
okay, pup. Let's go get you outside. Like, oh, it was so cute though.
See,
But
that's the big difference.
I was like, I'm gonna go home. But yeah, like imagine if that was like a human doing that on you. It's like so different. Like,
And like there's that empathy involved with that, but like it's still fucking gross. And like and the worst thing is
Yeah.
like some people are like really embarrassed, but like honestly some people don't give a fuck. They'll like smile at you all fucking weird after they shit all over you, and you're like, oh my god.
Wow, that's
Oh,
twisted. That's twisted.
You
Yeah, I
get the
bet
mix
they're-
of people.
I bet there's some freaks. I bet, yeah.
Oh, dude, you sometimes you walk in a room, some guy's just fucking jerking his dick, and you're like,
Okay.
I have to do this with you. If you could just stop fucking jacking off for 1
Yeah.
second and let me do this.
Oh my god.
Oh
Bye.
god. Speaking of jacking off, dude, I walked into this one guy's room, dude. I don't think I even realized it, but he was like trying to go pee, but he was sitting there like forever, and I had to like go do this assessment thing on him, and he was like kind of like a homeless bum guy, dude. I've never smelled like smellier dick, and then like I had to get like a pulse ox with his finger, and he's like. So he's like holding this like those like urinal jug things, and then I'm just like, oh, I need to get your pulse ox, and both his hands are on it. I'm like, oh, here, I'll hold it for you. So like I held it for him, and, like got his finger and stuck it in my thing. And I'm just like, this is a terrible idea. I don't know why I'm doing this, dude. I don't know why. I'm like, I can smell his dick from across the room. Like, this is the worst smelly bum dick. And I just like stick it in the thing. I'm like, all right, we're good. I'm just like, oh my God. I swear to God, I could smell the guy's dick in my nose for the rest of the day. I wiped that thing down so good, but every time I put it on like someone else's finger, I'm just like, oh God, if only you know where this thing has been.
Smelly bum dick, dude. On the top 10 worst smells of Snoochie's life.
Oh my God. It'll stain your nose.
Oh, that's filthy. That is fucking filthy.
But I love it, you know.
Yeah. It is help
part of my
people's
life.
great.
I love it.
I love it. That guy did not need to be helped that much, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He's all like requesting you later today. Like, I need some help again.
Yeah, can you? I need a little treatment here. The guy barely spoke English, but I mean, in my defense, it was a bad time, and I kind of already like wrote myself into the situation, and I'm like, well, you know what? I guess I'm gonna have to hold this for him.
Yeah, you're a good guy. I'm sure it was fine. And you're just like, that was gross, and then you moved on.
Pretty much, except every time I breathed in through my nose, I was reminded.
Dude, I wanted you to tell Dunk about you went flying with fish.
Oh, I want to hear all about this.
So
Yes.
I recently went flying with a fish.
Yes,
And-
fish. Fish is, to clarify, Fish is one of our guys who lives in Arizona, Justin, Arizona, near Tanner. But yes, carry on. He is training to be a flight instructor.
He is.
Right now.
He is pretty much almost there, and so I'm lucky enough to be in the same state as one of our boys, and he asked me like, "Hey, you know, do you want to come fly? I need to teach somebody." So of course I'm not going to say no. Like, how great of experience is that, right? How many people can really honestly say, "I've flown a plane before"?
Right. And I made this point when he told me the story that like Duncan and I will probably do it because we know him, but like most people will never even like sniff,
Oh no,
flying a
They'll
plane.
barely sniff the cockpit, dude.
Some people don't even get on commercial flights. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if they do get in a plane, they're probably not. They're just going to be like going up for a fun ride with somebody who already knows how to fly.
Right.
So
yeah, no,
basically,
it was really fun, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, continue. Sorry.
anyways, because I know Duncan went up with him as well before actually I did any of this as well. So you kind of have some back knowledge on what's going on with everything we do. But basically, we got there in the beginning of the day, early day. We had to do some like classroom time. I had to learn everything about physics with the plane. Everything classroom wise you would learn normally. So we went over that, and then the time finally came. We're gonna fly the plane, and it's like the most surreal experience. We're like going out there. All of a sudden, you see all these other planes starting up. We're doing the pre-flight check, and so finally we get in the plane, and then now I'm in there, and like the coolest first thing that we had to do was I had to like basically contact like the flight tower or whatever, and I'm like, this is Chandler Air reporting in with Cherokee 0224 at Chandler Air departing B Southwest. And then you're like, Cherokee, clear for flight. You're like, oh, okay. You're like, all right,
The little
time
guy
to go,
chirps
dude.
back at you.
He does, and you have
Does
like
he
the
sound
little,
like that like normal guy from like the movies?
dude? Absolutely, because you have like that's how you're talking when you're in the plane. Because
Right.
after you start that shit up, it's so fucking loud, and so like even me and Fish are just sitting there talking through that. And then,
Dude,
like,
it sounds like Counter-Strike, dude. They're like,
It does.
you're gonna go.
you're like, all right, we're ready for takeoff. I'll go ahead and clear. I'll head to the runway, and and then so like now I have to fly the plane or taxi the plane to that spot. So one of the trippy things too is like you have a yoke, which is like your steering wheel, and then you have like the rudders, which are like the pedals, and you don't touch the yoke at all when you're taxiing the plane. So it's like it's really trippy because you want to like drive the plane, but you have to like remember like you're just using the throttle and like your feet to steer it on the ground.
Oh, that's super interesting.
So it's like
you don't even. Yeah.
you
Cool.
just
Go ahead.
keep wanting to like touch the yoke, and you're like, he just kept slapping my hands away. He's like, no.
Yeah.
No. I'm like,
Well, no,
"Oh, shit."
because when you drive normally a vehicle, you're using your hands. We've always, for how many years have we driven cars with our hands?
Yeah.
get in a vehicle, drive it with your hands.
The craziest thing for me, like when he was having us fly, is you think like as you're climbing, you would just push the throttle all the way forward and then you just pull the yoke backwards. But because it's a center engine plane, the faster the motor goes, the body of the plane wants to twist the opposite direction. So when you're going full speed, you actually hold the rudder slightly like you're turning right to counteract the steering, like the twisting of the plane.
Oh.
It's like the most unique experience. Like it gave me so much more respect for pilots because like it's hard, like you see all the gauges, but like until you're in there and you have to look at like 6 different gauges and you're doing all this stuff at the same time, it's seriously challenging. Like those guys are very skilled.
And so that was one of the biggest things too. Is there's like you have like your 6-pack, which is like you have like velocity, you have like the little altimeter and stuff and everything you have to look at. So we get it on the runway, and the cool thing is like, okay, now we got it lined up with the runway. We're clear for takeoff, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to take off. Like I'm about to fly a fucking plane from the ground and starting. And all of a sudden you start pushing that throttle forward, going quicker, and then you get about to 90 knots, and then you just start pulling back, and you only have one hand on it, which like feels weird that you want both hands on it, but you always have to have a hand on the throttle. And then you pull up, and I was so concentrated on just not fucking up, and because he's telling me like, make sure you're at this speed on this, and so you're like, I'm just like looking at the gears, like I swear to God, I was not even looking outside. And the next thing you know, you're just like, holy shit, we're up in the air, like holy shit, I just took off in a plane.
Yeah,
and
you've climbed. Now after that, you've climbed a bunch, and you're just up there.
And you're looking, you're like, oh fuck, dude. And yeah, like Dunk was saying, you can like you have to kind of like weirdly steer it, and it's so sketchy because you're like, I'm flying this plane right now, and so we get up there. What's up?
So sorry, you guys are saying it's weird steering. So like these planes are small and they're like propellered, right?
Yes, there's a propeller
single prop. Yeah, it's a single prop.
So it's light, and the actual force of that thing spinning, like the rudder spinning, you have to counteract it. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Because naturally the motor is inside the body of the plane, right? So the motor is attached to the plane and to the propeller, and all the motor is doing is spinning. And naturally, things that spin, if there's 2 pieces, they want to spin in opposite directions.
Right. Okay, I totally. I follow. Yeah.
It's crazy,
super
man.
Cool.
Like there's a bunch of weird sensations. Like Snoochie, I'm not gonna cut you off on this one, but did he do the air stall thing with you?
Oh, I didn't air stall. I air stalled it myself.
Oh, he did it with me. I was like co-piloting with him, and he was like kind of having me do a couple things here and there because this was about a year ago.
Right.
But he's like, all right, here we go, and didn't really tell me what we were gonna do. He's like the plane's gonna like dip forward, just like let it happen, and we're like kind of upwards, and he just like kills the motor, and it just dips downwards, and like I remember panicking instinctively and like searching for like an oh shit handle like on the roof of the car, like the roof of the plane, like thinking it's a car, just like hands going everywhere looking for something to grab. It was like it's like going on a roller coaster but like way longer, and then you're literally just falling like straight down, like the plane is level with the ground, you're falling, and then it slowly will tilt forward, and then the air gets the motor going again, and it just starts up and you're fine. But it was only like 3 seconds, and it feels like half an hour.
Yeah, no. And so those big things, right? We get up, and first I fly around. He has me make like certain degree turns, and I have to make 10 degree turns, and then 30 degree turns. When you turn to, you have to kind of like use the rudders. So like it's cool. Like I felt like honestly, I mean maybe we're just saying it, but I did really fucking good. I thought when I was up there.
Yeah.
And so we do it, and then at first what he does is then after I kind of like did a few turns and got headed a certain direction, we did a 0G maneuver. And a 0G maneuver is basically like you kind of like I forgot exactly what we did. Either we went up basically, and then like basically went straight down, and you almost kind of float for like a second, like it's almost 0Gs, right? You're almost kind of floating, and then he pulls back up, and you get all these Gs, and it's like holy shit, fucking awesome. But the whole time, the whole rest of the story, I'm literally just trying not to barf. Because after that, it literally just made me want to fucking throw up.
I remember that, dude. I forgot about that completely until you were talking about it. And I remember getting really... I wasn't as nauseous for that one, but he did a 30-degree turn like in a complete circle. And because the plane's so heckin' small and like you can't see out the windows, and I was on the right side, so he banked left, so I can't see anything but blue sky. And you feel the G's of turning, and my eyes couldn't find anything to track to figure out I was turning, and my head was just spinning. It felt like I was laying in bed after New Year's Eve or something, about to Ralph all over the place.
Oh, that's kind of cool, dude.
It was cool.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that makes
no.
sense though. The zero G thing, because you know those. You guys have seen those videos of those big ass planes that
Oh, yeah.
simulate zero G, where those
Oh.
people are in that big
Hell yeah.
tube
Yeah.
part of the plane, and they like. So those things do that by like flying in huge arcs.
Exactly,
And at,
it's
like,
a
the
fat
top of
problem.
the arc, yeah. The parabolic arc.
Parabolic
And,
arc.
and yeah, and like at like a certain point at the top of it, you're like at zero G's, and it's just yeah, I don't
That's
know.
nuts, dude.
That's kind of cool.
Once
You
you
did a mini one. You
experience
did
it-
a small one of those.
Yeah, when you experience it, you're instantly just like, I don't know how those fucking guys fly those fighter jets, because like I would be fucking barfing. My whole fucking jet would be filled with puke. I would have to have like a suction thing on my mouthpiece just for how much I would be throwing up flying a jet.
Dude, that's what those
Yeah.
things are in their mouth. Like everybody, you think it's for oxygen, but it's really just a huge puke tube.
Gives
You're
you-
just like,
no, but that's also like they oh, it's just gobbling it up. These big old tanks that are just full of vomit.
Then they
Um,
shoot it at their bad guys out the back.
spray and blind. I'm like, I can't see shit. But so yeah, then we also did like a stall maneuver thing. And first he kind of showed me, and he so this whole time too, obviously I'm in the pilot seat. So, and he shows me, and he's like doing this all from the co-pilot, shows me how to do it, and you like put the flaps on and stuff, and then you like kind of pull up, and you stall the plane out. He did shows me how to do it. He's like, all right, now I want you to do it. So he kind of talks me through it, and we're doing it. And then, as we pull up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. And then like, I actually felt like I did not freak out. I handled it very well, just because like I felt like since I'm in the pilot seat, like I'm like in control of this fucking plane, and like I don't want to fuck this up. So all you do is push the yoke in forward, and you kind of nosedive it a little bit, and then you just slam the throttle, and boom, and you start up again, and then just kind of level it out.
Okay, so you kind of use the air to help.
Yeah,
Exactly,
it's all
exactly.
aerodynamics and stuff. It has to do with like lift, gravity, and a bunch of different things. So that's what I did for the flying first, and he kind of took over, and then luckily did, because I just wanted to throw up. But then he flew over some cool shit, flew over this like abandoned copper mine, and basically then we started heading back in, and that's when he let me do like the final kind of thing. So like I did the final fly in, where we just kind of like I had to get back on track, find the airport, line ourselves up, turn around the airport, and the scariest thing is like trying to like land the plane. So I did like a good chunk of it, where I did everything from pulling the flaps and every little bit where you're like nosediving, you're slowing down, you're slowing down the RPMs on the throttle and everything. And it's like so counterintuitive, because like it just feels like you're like, after you do that stall maneuver, it feels like you kind of are, you're almost slowly stalling out, and you're just like, it feels like you're just falling to the ground. And so basically I did most of that, but the worst thing, like I said, this whole time I'm fucking nauseous. So like this whole time he's like, all right, I want you to land this plane. I didn't tell him though at all that I was nauseous, because I didn't want to make him worried, like, oh, we got to turn this plane back around. But I'm like, dude, I thought I was going to barf. So I'm just like literally about to throw up trying to land this fucking plane. But I ended up doing pretty good. And basically I got it down to just about to where we're about to land. And then he kind of takes over. And then he basically has to do like the final landing, because the last little bit's kind of tricky. But, we landed the plane. Oh my God, when he opened that fucking hatch up, I could finally fucking breathe. But hands down, it was like the coolest experience. Like I feel like, I don't know, once in a lifetime experience. You get to take off, fly around and stuff, and it's just so insane and so insanely different than driving a car, anything else extreme, like when you're in the air flying a plane.
Right.
Like, there's just no other words. There's just no way to describe it until you're there flying the plane and taking off and doing all this crazy shit.
Pretty
Highly
much,
recommend it.
It was very hard for me to describe to people as well. To like try to portray the actual feeling using words is really difficult. It's one of those things you just kind of got to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like skydiving.
Mm.
And it seems like, and everyone's like, a lot of people are scared of it. But I think it's something it's worth trying at least once. It's such a rush.
That's literally like the next thing I wanted to do after I flew that plane. I'm like, I gotta go skydiving.
Now we
I was
gotta
like,
jump out of it, right?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I'm like, I flew this shit, dude. Now I gotta bail.
Hell yeah.
I need to be
no,
fully
it's
prepared.
insane. Like I remember that my buddy Kevin, who lives out here in Colorado, he's gonna have his tandem rating actually by the end of this summer. Big skydiver. He's jumping all the time. But for my birthday a year or two ago, he got me a tandem jump, like, strapped me to one of his buddies and threw me out of a plane. He calls me one day, and I worked at like 6 that night, but he calls me at like noon and he's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, fucking around, nothing. And he says, come to the drop zone. They're doing tandems out of the Sky Van. And what that is normally the little planes, you jump out the side, right. The doors open on the side, you jump out.
Oh yeah.
This thing was like, the door, like the whole back goes down. And the whole back is open.
Oh, that's so badass.
It's like World War II, dude. Like,
yeah, dude,
all the paratroopers.
Actually,
Special Ops Air Force.
I think this one, the door came up, but either way, it was big open back.
Regardless.
And it was fucking so sick. We did like a fat double gainer out. And just like the time between jumping out and like pulling the parachute felt like forever. I don't know. It was just like such a fucking rush. I loved it. I like got to look around and look at the mountains, like, saw Kevin down below us because he jumped right before we left. It was awesome. But yeah, when I got down that day, I had to go to work later, and it was like, I just like had this, it was this insane, I hadn't felt it in so long, this like excitement. It was more than adrenaline. It felt like, you know what I mean? It was like, I just like went to work and like smile on my face, didn't give a fuck, serving tables. Like, yeah, what are you fucking, like, I was nice and I was really like doing my job well, but I was like so psyched on life just from how much adrenaline my body got from that experience.
What did you just do? I just jumped out of a fucking plane that opened up the back and did gainers. What did you do today?
Yeah, man, it was so sick. Like,
hella confidence.
Yeah, I just like went into work. It was just like, like that was so
I'm a badass.
Like, I don't know. It just gave me this like undescribable, feeling of just like triumph almost. It was awesome. It was so cool. Highly recommend everyone.
No, that's definitely next on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah, like I said, Kevin's gonna have his rating at the end of the summer. You guys should come out and everyone
jump out.
Jump with Kev.
Hell yeah. That sounds
Scary.
like the thing to fucking do.
Scary.
Yeah, man.
Speaking
So,
of that, though, we need to get the boys together, though.
Oh yeah. Jake was talking about like going camping in August, I want to say.
August in Big Sur.
Yeah.
You should come.
I know that'd be a lot of fun. See, the thing is, all of us boys are very spread out.
Yeah.
And
that's why it's
a lot
so
of us,
epic when we all meet up. It's so
right?
epic.
Well, it's so crazy how we all met too. Like,
it's so cool.
We
it's
all came
just,
together.
Yeah.
The internet.
It's literally because of League.
Because of League of Legends, yeah.
It really is.
But it's formed into so much more. And
then for me, it was Rocket League.
Yeah.
It's also still
yeah.
League.
Dude, when you guys came out here for my fucking birthday, it was like I hadn't felt that like sort of holy shit, like these are my boys type of shit in a long time. I don't think either of you were there, but
I wasn't.
Yeah, a group of the
No, I haven't even met you, dude.
Like 8 or 9 of them fucking
surprised.
I thought I full on had a fucking bag packed, was ready to go to dinner with my family and then go to the airport to go on a mystery vacation for my fucking birthday. Fully ready, and we show up to the restaurant and it's like all the guys, and they'll all be on this eventually. They'll all cycle through and be on this forum or whatever the fuck it is, podcast.
It's a podcast.
And it'll be sick, yeah. Like I showed up, I saw my family facing me, and then like a whole long ass table of people I wasn't expecting there, and they all turn around, and it was just like, Jake, Brent, Kevin, not Kevin, but Dirty Guat. I don't know if I should call him that.
Dirty Guat came. I forgot about that.
Wes?
Oh, yeah.
Wes. That's his name. That's his name. Wes. Justin, who just Tanner was talking about flying the plane, flight instructor guy, and his wife Margot. It was awesome. It was so good.
Well, so that's one of the weird things, though, right? Is like, especially when you have internet friends that you've known for so long. Like, I know I've met a few of you, or a couple of you. I've met Fish. Obviously, he lives out here, and then I saw Duncan too, who I am in this podcast with right now. And it's one of those weird things when you see them in person. It's not different. It doesn't feel
completely agree.
different.
You just pick
It was
up right
weird.
where you were, like even though you don't know exactly what they look like. You like met me at a bar and like we just sat down and we just started shooting this shit like we hung out like every day. It was
I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, man,
'cause
that's
we
the
have,
best.
dude. Right?
Yeah,
That's
it
true. We
doesn't
have. I
make
guess it's a
any-
great point.
The conversation
Absolutely.
doesn't change. It's just you're there physically with somebody, and that's like the craziest thing when you think about it. And when people talk about, you can't have good relationships or good friends on the internet, like, oh, because you don't see them every day. Well, you know what? When people become adults and you don't see your friends every day, how do you communicate with them? Through text, through a phone call? That's literally what we do, but we get in a team speak and we just hang out with each other there. And instead of being in person, we either play games or sometimes we just sit around and talk. And that doesn't change the relationship because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter at all.
Dude, I think now at our age, mid late 20s,
Right.
we now have more because of TeamSpeak and all this, this community we've built. We've got more, close relationships or
Yep.
friends than a lot
Absolutely.
of other people our age. At least, if you're not outraging and
Yeah.
considering
those
that
aren't real
having a ton of friends,
Yeah, even then, that's
But
not
I
are those
don't.
real friends. You
No.
know?
I talked to
that's-
Jake about this. I had this conversation with a few people too, like how cool it is. I actually like I don't know if I'd be friends with Jake anymore. Like I don't know like how close I'd be with Ethan anymore either. Like just the ability to talk to someone every day, like and just like by chilling, like it's made all of us stay really tight, and all of us are in like 4 different states. It's sick.
And even if we don't talk for a while, it's like, even
Exactly.
if like, everyone gets busy with life and stuff. And obviously, there was a lot of times for me too where, I was in school and working and stuff, and I'd only see you guys maybe a couple times a week, but nothing changes, right? That's the beauty of it. When you get on, boys are there. You just pick
pretty
up where you
cool.
left off.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's crazy because it's like, you never know in life where your relationships or where like something beautiful is going to come from. Because literally the only reason I know you guys was because I decided to play Rocket League from the start. And one of Danny's friends, Mike, I was literally on Reddit, just like, oh hey, I'm looking for someone good to play Rocket League with. And meeting Mike, met Danny, and all of a sudden like, okay, brought me into the fucking dumpster with these dumpster boys.
yes.
And next thing you fucking know, dude, like fucking, what has it been, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, dude,
man.
it's been
Of
so
Isn't that
long.
insane?
consistent like daily talk, man. Like,
So cool.
yeah, I love it. I love everything about it, and that's the whole point of this thing.
Dude, I when I started at a new community college like in 2012 or 11, and like I just walked up to my first class and I hadn't seen Jake since high school. Like we used to be in the same volleyball team and everything, and I just walk up and I'm like saw him, I'm like, dude, no way, what's up? And we ended up being in the same class. And in that class, he's like, you need to come over to my house tonight. I need to show you League of Legends. Like you need to play this because we used to play like lots of Halo and Call of Duty together. And I got it on my Mac, and then I showed Ethan like a week later. And then that was just it. Then we were like on TeamSpeak like every day with the boys playing League. And then Jake helped us build their PCs, and like that was just it. And then we're in the crew. Crazy.
It's the best. I remember my brother showing me League, and I was like, "What the fuck is
That's
this?"
right. Yeah,
And then-
yeah.
And then you mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, I'll play with it, you guys." Like,
That's what it was.
let's play. And then we dude, what was the game mode called?
Domination.
Dominion.
Dominion.
Yeah. Enough about League. We don't have to talk about fucking games.
I don't like it. For the record, I do not play League of Legends.
Yeah. Me either.
But
Same. We used to.
I'm happy for League
We used
because
to.
it brought the boys together. So
Yes. No, it's awesome. I love it.
You guys want to hear a crazy car dealership story?
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right, so yeah, I've worked in the car business for like a decade almost, and just different positions. But you always hear, sometimes you just hear crazy stories from people. And I sold a car to this guy that spent 6 months, like half a year in Russia and half a year in the States, because he's Russian and he works for a Russian game company, so he splits his time. But he bought a Porsche from us, and he was just telling me how crazy it is in Russia that nobody ever buys new cars there, like as far as Porsches go. Like that's not a thing, because theft is so rampant there that literally like 90% of the Porsches that are on the road are stolen, and that's just like how it is. And they actually have storefronts that you go to, and you tell them exactly the kind of car you want, and they go and find it, and they steal it for you, and they put it in a container and hide it for like a year or half a year, and they sell it to you for like a quarter of the price. And they change all
Oh
the
my
information
God.
on it, everything. and there's literally a full business built on it, and it's actually like the government's involved in it to a degree that like the people that go and steal the cars, they use like briefcases. I mean, don't ask me how he knew all the details, but it sounds a little bit sketchy to me. I used to be stealing many cars.
I will live there 6 months per year.
No, I feel like I want to buy a legitimate Porsche in America.
Yeah, he couldn't get a freaking black market one in the States. Probably
get
why,
it
dude.
Shipped over here, probably.
Fuck it.
But he says that they drive around, like they find the car, and then it's kind of like Gone in 60 Seconds, like movie stuff. But they have like a briefcase or a box that's just a big like RF like signal like reader, and they just wait for someone to walk up to their car and click the unlock button, and it saves the signal, and then they just follow the car around and wait, and then they just steal it. And he said that it's like if that's not crazy enough, that most of the time that they drive around stealing these cars, they have police in the car with them.
That's insane.
Yeah. That just blew my mind. The storefront part of it, like it's one thing to find like the shady guy in the alley, but it's like no, like if your friends found out that you bought a Porsche like legitimately, they'd be like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah, it is. You could have gone on the black market, quarter the price. Fucking sucker blood.
I mean, the only catch is you have to have scare level 3, but you can still get it.
Ah, dude, everybody can get security level 3 in Russia.
Yeah, you're born with it if you're
come
from Russia, dude. That's awesome. That's insane. That's kind of like that story I was telling you the other day. Those Russian like hitmen. The government still uses.
That's
that.
what made me remember that story, dude. Exactly.
Apparently, there's these. It's like a new age Russian KGB. Shit, I should have had the article pulled up to cite it, give him some credit. But basically, there's this new KGB that takes advantage of this demographic of career criminals in Russia that for some reason have this, like, they've been in mob work their whole lives, and for some reason they have this like sense of national pride where if the government comes to them with this job, that they're going to like get completely pardoned of everything bad they've done, and you know the immunity, whatever. And this reporter went over and like talked to this guy in this prison who was just one day given a list. He was like, and he was so down. He's like, hell yeah. He got this list and like went and staked out this guy, and then got this text one day and just fucking killed him, got arrested, and then he's in prison. This reporter was interviewing him, and he's like, yeah, I'm waiting for them to come bail me out. Like, he's in Ukraine in prison, and like, I don't think they're coming, buddy.
My dad said there's like a name for these kind of people. I was telling him the story at dinner, and he called them like silence or something. It's like a common thing. He related it to like how Jason Bourne was a little bit. Like, they're just kind of like in society, and like whenever anybody calls on them, they'll just do whatever the hell you want, and like full on YOLO, like exactly crazy sense of national pride.
Right,
they
and
have
like
to give
it's
them,
weird because like it's not like that's like way intense, like high level shit, where he's like trained, but these guys are just like, thugs, street thugs, that are like, oh yeah, hell yeah, dude, hell yeah.
That's so Russian to me. It's
so
it just has
such
to be
a
so
Russian
much
mindset. I don't
right?
know. Yeah,
it really is.
Like at that point where you just like literally can call on any criminal to do basically like your bidding, dude.
Yeah, the government just has this. They know they have just countless people that they could call on to do dirty shit.
It's very
right? Because they can throw them away and ever deny like
that
and
apparently
they had anything
it was apparently it had something to do with like some conflict like 8 years ago too, like in Ukraine, and apparently like the way that the paperwork worked out, it was probably just some like loose end that someone saw this paper that with these names on it. It was like, oh yeah, have these guys been killed yet? And they're like, I don't think so. Like, oh shoot, well, take care of that. And then they're just like, it was like 8 years after the fact that these guys had been involved in like anything.
Oh man,
you know what I mean? So
what? That's crazy.
That
seriously
like
sounds like they found a document.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Desk.
Like, oh shoot, did these guys get taken care of? It was like that kind of thing.
Yikes.
Like, oh damn, oh fuck, I totally forgot. Get Vladimir on it.
Like, well, what do we do? Let's call the random people. We'll never get in trouble for. All right.
Go find the lackey.
I think what that was is the Russians blocked was it the Ukrainian Azov seaports in like 2014 or something like that, and that was the biggest thing that ended up happening, and that's what caused the biggest thing because Russia's like basically no, we want access to these trading ports or whatever. And they just absolutely fucked Ukraine out of their asses. And what are they going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck are you going to do?
That's crazy. And that's like way post USSR too. That's insane.
Yeah. That's like, so you think of like that kind of shit when it's like, Cold War era where there's like KGB spies.
It's almost even more tense nowadays, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
We're going to find out about a bunch of stuff in like a couple years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And like, we have all this stuff with the Mueller trials and shit going on with Trump and the whole, did he work with Russia? And basically they can't either confirm, like he literally can't confirm or deny, whether or not Trump was.
I don't fucking care.
With all that
I
shit,
care,
dude.
But like I just hate.
No, but but the whole thing is like, regardless of Trump or any of that, it's just everybody's always kind of like secretly, until it even gets proven. Like,
oh yeah, there's so much shit.
They're working together, dude. There's the higher power, right? It's like that Illuminati. Well, I don't think there's Illuminati, but I think there's like that. The highest power people and the richest people in the world all work together to try to keep their money and their power, right? Why would you not?
Secret society,
It
actually.
is.
Oh yeah.
And, quote unquote secret society, call it what you want, but
right. I mean, it's not even like that secret. I feel like it's just they share common interests and they work to protect those together.
And that's all it is. And then, but it's so broad and they do it through so many different people. It's so hard to prove it.
It's on such a huge scale too.
That is mind blowing, right? It's just like they're like immune.
And then some of these people are in control of nuclear powers. Like all it takes is like the wrong fucking thing to happen, dude. Like, and literally that's the scariest thing too. And was the scariest thing in the Cold War, right? One person clicks that nuke button, mutual shared destruction, right? Boom.
Yeah. Dude, I actually read this article recently. That was like, if there's like 90 nuclear power plants in the U.S. and 60 of them, if there was like intense flooding over like this weird amount, I don't know. I think it involves climate change, but if there's like this crazy flow of water, it'll like 60 of those things don't have the capabilities of handling it, and they'll just fucking go. What is the term? Like when a power plant goes, oh shoot.
It goes nuclear. It's like it's a meltdown.
Right.
It's a meltdown.
Yeah.
There's I know. Fuck, I feel like there's a word for it, but
there is.
Anyway,
we'll get back to that later.
Yeah, we'll look that up. But yeah, it's I don't know. Like it's so on. Like society's built on such like a knife's edge, I feel.
It is, but at the same time, right? You almost can't worry about it. If you spend every day, and that's the whole thing with the conspiracy theorists and fucking whatever. You really can't live your life like honestly worrying about that stuff too much, because you would just be so scared all the time.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up like, am I gonna die today? It could be today. Yeah, guess what? It could be today, but are you really gonna spend your whole life worrying about that?
Yeah, no, that's and it's funny. Like I actually love like hearing and reading and listening to shit about conspiracy theories and stuff like that. It's interesting hearing people's takes on shit, and
Flat earthers.
What people think happens. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of shit out there.
It's very interesting.
Well, so there's a certain amount. There's certain ones that are, I would say, more credible than others, and then there's there's certain ones, like I said, flat earthing, where so many people got into it. Well, so many people got into it, big celebrities, because all it takes is a couple YouTube videos of somebody saying something like that. They go, oh, well, maybe that's right. Like bullshit. Like, if I'm standing here and I can see the Seattle skyline from here,
yeah.
What about the Earth? And then like literally everyone like comes back in and like, no, you fucking idiot.
Well, yeah.
Guess what? There's people that get PhDs and all this stuff, and they literally go, no, look, this is why this isn't true.
No, but look, yeah.
But it gets everybody. The problem is these people, they don't do the research outside of whatever the propaganda, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly how propaganda spreads, and these crazy fucking ideas spread. So.
Yep. All thanks
Well,
to
yeah,
social media
so
too.
important.
Thanks
Well,
to social
like-
media, man. That's what makes
well,
all
like-
that stuff spread. It's these little tiny communities of people that's only a couple thousand people, and it seems like it's like half the population, but it's really just a small sample size of people. It's
Well, it's
insane.
nice to have
a lot of
like-minded
hearsay
people, right?
too. Hearsay
Yep.
goes a long way in our
Yeah, you-
community nowadays, in our culture nowadays.
You just feel like other people agree with you, right? You have a group of people that really agree with you, and all of a sudden it makes you feel unique and like, okay, you know, we're all right, they're wrong. I have these people, and they just reinforce each other on these bullshit ideas, right?
It's like
and
how cults happen. Oh,
they got onto something that nobody else could, right? Oh my god, we came up with a new physics theory, even though we're fucking like high school GED.
Yeah, but
like the ultimate neckbeard.
Yeah, dude. What was I gonna say? Damn it! I completely lost my train of thought.
Channel your inner
that's why you got to
neckbeard.
be careful. You have to, when you look at anything, and it's so easy to get sucked in by that, and I definitely have over the years.
Yeah.
But you really have to almost look at the opposing viewpoints and really go outside that comfort zone. And some of the stuff is very hidden too, right? Because these ideas are so big that all you do when you research it and look stuff up on Google,
Is
that shit pops up, right? But the real truth is hidden, and you have to honestly find it out for yourself.
Yeah, and this reminded me of what I remembered. Cults. That reminded me of just like cults and
exactly.
shit.
Oh, God.
Jonestown type
It's
of shit. Where it's
Exactly what
like
it is.
thousands. I don't remember exactly the number, but I feel like it's about 1,000 people living in this fucking
Jonestown?
compound in fucking damn it.
Yeah, I forget where it was.
This compound, basically.
Are you talking about
But
the
yeah,
one?
no,
There's multiple ones that
It was
happen.
in
There's multiple
California.
big ones.
no, there
Well,
was
there's
there's
a
one
big
in
one
like
out in
there
like
was one
Nevada
like in
desert or
South
something.
America.
Yeah,
like-
he moved to
Oh,
South America
yeah.
temporarily.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was a Jonestown
That was
one.
Jonestown.
Yeah,
that was
That was
Kool-Aid.
the Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
The Flavor Aid is the actual brand.
Flavor Aid, exactly.
I'm gonna make
Shout out
that
to the last
Flavor Aid.
podcast
I
on
bet
the
it'll be
left
good
for.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah. It was a thing, dude. Apparently, that's what like actually they were drinking. It was called Flavor
It's
Aid.
actually Flavor Aid.
Am I remembering that right?
Flavor Aid.
Dude, it was. I remember how ridiculous it was.
Yeah,
Like, I
because
remember
laughed
laughing
so hard at that. Because it was actually called Flavor Aid. Yeah, but that shit is too gnarly. And maybe we'll do a deep dive into some cults.
I would love that.
That would be super cool.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd love that.
All right. Well,
Well, boys, I have like one more thing we could talk about, or we could cut
let's
it here.
let's get one more topic in. If you got
yeah.
one more.
Let's get one more thing. in.
All right. Well, I was for some reason I was just thinking like this. I have these few like really old memories, you know, back when I don't remember anything else about my life, but I have these random memories, you know. It was from back when I was like less than 4 years. I was probably 3 years old. Duncan, it was before I even moved to like Los Gatos. I lived in San Jose still. So it was at that old house that you don't even know. But but dude, so I was like, you know, pacifiers or what binkies, whatever you want to fucking call them. I was like, I really liked mine. Like I was kind of obsessed with it. I was supposed to like
You just
I
love
held on to
nipples.
it a little longer than I should have. You know, I got a little outgrew it and kind
You're
of
a
kept
nipple guy.
one. Yeah, love the nips, man. Love them.
Big
but
fan.
like it got to the point where I did like even have like one under my pillow. You know, like sneaking it. I would sneak a suck.
Suck on.
Yeah, dude, I needed to
suck.
sneak a suck every now and
Need
then.
something nipple shaped right now.
Way too old to be
Satisfied.
sneaking a suck, but I was
I don't know
sneaking
why.
sucks all the time. But anyway, so once I like I think my mom like knew. I was fucking obsessed, but my mom like knew, and she was
Oh,
like,
she knew. She 100% knew.
well, she knew that like I had it in my room, I think, and
Oh,
she
of
just like
course.
I think she called me out because I just have this memory of the memory is me, my mom at the end of the kitchen, where like at the sink, at the end of the kitchen with the trash can out, right next to her,
Boy, just that.
and me like at the hallway, at the entrance to the dining room, like far away from her, with the thing in my hand, and it was like this ceremonious thing. My brother was like looking on, and I was
Slow
just like
motion.
walked slowly up to the trash can. And, like she was like, she like nodded at me, you know, like fucking put that.
Aw.
You're
I
done
thought you
with
were
that
gonna slow
shit.
motion put it in your mouth, just like
just
eye
One more
contact, just
suck.
look at your mom, just like
one more
One
suck.
more suck.
One more suck. One more
everybody
suck.
cheers as Ethan sticks the nipple
And then
into his
just
mouth for the last time.
patooey. Spits it out after
Just spits it. I'm done with nips.
for a couple years.
For a few
Oh,
years,
that's
wait till
so
I hit
good.
puberty.
So good.
It's
But yeah,
weird.
it
It's
was
weird
just-
how
it
your
was like
brain
a
works
weird.
like that.
Yeah, it's just like this weird
Crazy.
random memory. Like I remember that shot, like that frame of me standing there and like my mom down at the end of the know,
It's time to let
into
go
the
of the
kitchen. It's like so
nipples.
crazy. Yeah, like beckoning me to let go. It was so good.
Ethan, you may just be remembering
I'm
some
over this
internal
phase.
trauma right there, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, stop.
Uh-oh.
I'm tired of you trying to suck everyone's
I
tit,
don't allow to
Ethan.
pick that scab.
No
Next
more of
topic.
this. You've been going for everybody's nipples at dinner. No more.
Yeah, wait. What about you guys? Do you have
I have a couple weird things I remember from being really
Lots
young.
of weird shit. I don't know if I want to share it though.
That's like,
Oh my
it's just-
god. So you guys are. I feel like I don't remember much. You know, like I don't remember.
I
too
remember like
much.
there's stuff I remember that's so vivid and random that I don't know why I remember it. Like
Well,
specifically
yeah,
at this
exactly.
one
No,
house.
that's what I
like,
want to know.
Yeah. Okay, like I don't know. I remember sitting in in the bedroom of one of the houses that my parents had. That for some reason I know I was like around 5, maybe 6, and I remember the entire fucking layout of this house for some reason. It's so weird how that works, but yeah, like this. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. Like the sun was coming through the blinds, like at an late afternoon in Arizona, and like I remember sitting on the floor playing with like the car rug that we all had with the road map. With the you drive the cars and the rug. It's all got the road map all around with all the different towns and cities and shit. And like my mom coming in and like sitting down with me and like playing cars with me, like specifically. I don't know why I remember that.
Damn.
That's just it. But I can see it and I can think of it whenever I want, and it's just vivid in like that
Maybe you
little
just,
short
like,
amount of time.
Maybe you like wish
Dude.
that happened.
Dude, I remember this one time too. Of like,
Okay, Sean.
speaking of that, of wanting something to
Wish.
happen, but I remember this one time I swear to God it happened and my dad denies it, but I was young and like we were just sitting there messing around with my brother. And then like I swear to God he literally like farted in my face. Like I swear to God he like sat on my head. Or like not to please switch it, but like he let out the biggest rip and I can smell it. I can smell it
still
right
have
now,
this-
dude.
No,
I
you
it was
definitely
a
wish
horse
that
fart,
happened.
dude. I'm like that. I'd be like, I never did that. I'm just like, I know you did that, you bastard.
But like when you think of the memory, you can like smell the smell,
Like,
kind of like
oh,
mentally,
I
like
smell
in there.
it.
Whenever you think of your dad, you can just think of farts now.
I
Forever.
just do that perfect like horse turd fart. It wasn't
Oh.
smelly. It wasn't bad.
Right, yeah.
It was
I know that.
fresh.
It's like
Fresh.
gnarly.
It was a nice
That is
fresh dad
gnarly.
fart.
A fresh dad fart.
That's how you know you love. That's how you know you love him, dude. It's because you thought his fart smelled good. Like,
I love you, Dad.
oh, I love you.
Oh, that wasn't too bad. You know what? It's okay. Hey, girls, don't get. I'm getting my guinea pigs
Oh, I heard
excited.
her.
Oh, I heard it
them.
too.
I know.
Yeah, dude, they're getting a little excited right now. Hey, it's
We're-
okay.
Don't get them
They
too
like it when I
riled
talk
up.
about
No,
farts. I start
Yeah,
talking
that's
about
why.
farts and
That's why
smelling
we fart.
farts, and they're just like, "Oh my god,
Dad's gonna fart
oh my
for us.
gosh, are you talking about farts?"
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's okay. Seriously.
Uh,
All right, boys. Same
Okay.
time next week.
all right. Yep. We'll
right,
pick
let's
it up
close this
next
out.
week. Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some playoff
Yeah,
highlights,
well-
some playoff points to talk about because the first round's ending up. We'll finish up this week.
This was the first one, but you know what? I think it went well.
I think it went very well.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we might have hopefully maybe 1 or 2 more boys with us next week.
Maybe we can get Grant
Um,
Strachan on and have a little hockey podcast.
Yeah, a little hockey talkie. I was thinking that earlier today too. But yeah,
all right,
guys.
boys.
That was fun.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, have a
Thanks
good one,
for joining
everyone.
us. It's been
Happy
good.
420. Woo!
Happy 420 indeed.
Blaze it.